Hi guys, this is Wolfie, and I'm going to show you guys my Everything Works Amara build. This build will be good for new players who are just getting past Tree Vault Hunter mode and want to get into Mayhems, and don't know a build that's going to be potent enough to clear everything. This build should make mobbing very easy, and it has enough sustainability to kill any boss in the game. You can obviously add some variations to the build when you get better gear, but this is the base form. Let's go over this real quick, right? So first you obviously want to take Anima, and you want to put 5 into Infusion. You want to take 5 in a Tempest, 1 in Dread, 1 in Deep Well, 3 in Indiscriminate, 5 in Sustainment, and 1 in Forceful Expression. This is basically taking everything useful in the tree. Everything else is kind of just meh, to be honest. You're going to be applying the status effects to everybody anyway. This cooldown makes it not very desirable. You can have extra points in this from your class mod, hopefully. You're never going to melee. And the weapons we normally use don't really care about handling or accuracy. Right? Now we're going to go to the Mystic Assault tree. We're going to put 3 in Fast Hands, 2 in Violent Tapestry, 5 in Cooldown Reduction, 3 in Transcend, 1 in Ascendant, right? Put another point in Violent Tapestry, just so we can get to the last part. 3 in 3, and Laid Bare in Wrath, and then 1 more in Violent Tapestry, just for the extra point. Now, this is going to make the most out of this build. You want cooldown reduction because we're going to be using Phase Grasp a lot. Violent Tapestry because it just keeps your rush stacks up. It allows you to keep doing damage. Fast Hands, your Amara. You're going to be using guns specific to their HP. You want to be able to swap your weapons. Critical damage is never bad. Ever. And it's an extra point that we can put here, and it's nice to have the Stillness of Mind, right? So we're going to be using Stillness of Mind, like I said before, Ties That Bind, and the Incendiary. Now you can use Shock if you want, if you don't have a good Shock weapon, and you just want to be able to take out shields, and you have a very, very good Incendiary weapon. I personally like the Incendiary damage, right? So now, the way that this build works is there are a lot of misworded abilities. Not in this tree, but in this one. So they're hard to understand, right? The key to this build is the fact that you have Ties That Bind. And the way that Ties That Bind works is that when you raise someone up, when you shoot the main target you grasp, it's going to share damage with everyone else that is near the target. It allows you to pretty much clear a whole room every 18 seconds. And if you have cooldown reduction, it's even faster. Now, the fun part about this is if you use Stillness of Mind, your Phase Grasp now becomes AoE. Now when you get into those big rooms full of enemies, you can just CC them and kill them. All at the same time. It happens a lot faster than it does. And the shared damage is very insane when you add certain weapons and combos into the game. Now, the good news about this build is that some of these abilities, like Laid Bare, are worded wrong. It's worded in the sense where they take increased damage when they're damaged by your ability. What's actually happening is they're taking the 25% damage increase when they're hit by your ability. My assumption is that it's written like that because it's in the phase cast tree, and if you're ever hit by an ability in the phase cast tree, you're taking damage. When you use Phase Grasp, it's doing the same thing. It's free damage. The good thing about this is that it not only increases your gun damage, but it increases your elemental damage, which scales really well with everything here. You'll be melting targets in no time. This speaks for itself. Now, another thing that's worded wrong is Stillness of Mind. When it gets raised into the air, it's supposed to drop them when they take damage. When you have Ascendant, it drops in 0.75 seconds. What's actually happening is they only drop if they take direct gun damage. So maybe from a ricochet or if you shoot them. But if you use specific weapons that do not ricochet, like torque weapons and Cutsman, you can CC the entire room for the full 6 seconds as you're taking a breather to regen your shields or get some health back from sustainment. It's really nice. It's really safe. It's great for everyone. I also think, and I can't prove this, but I'm 90% sure that they're also getting the effect of Laid Bare because they're technically hit by an action skill. They're dying just as fast or faster than the main target. So, take that as you will. This build has tons of built-in damage. It's made for you to be able to just cut through things with the worst gear in the game. Obviously, if you have the worst gear, you're not going to go into Mayhem 3 Slaughter Shaft, but you could probably do one at a Mayhem 2 or a Mayhem 1 with some good modifiers. Now let's go into the gear. Like I was saying before, it works with everything. It works better with good gear, but it works with everything. The main two things you want in this build is you want a Brainstormer and you want the Phase Lurker class mod. Does this work with other class mods? Yes, it works with everything. But the Phase Lurker class mod is the best. It synergizes the best. It's free gun damage, free cooldown rate. It's a great class mod. Redundant Brainstormer is really good for this. And the recursion. Use the recursion also. I personally like the Brainstormer more. Is amazing for this because you see this right here. The way the Brainstormer works is it shoots out a chain lightning to everyone that's close to the main target you hit. And it can chain off to other people as far away. But if they're close to the main target, it shoots a chain lightning back to the main target. So what's happening is you see this 35%, every chain lightning that goes back to the main target is shared amongst everyone. So you can easily get 35 times 10. All of a sudden you start seeing mobs that have yellow health, blue health, red health die in like 3 hits. It's kind of insane. Recursion does something similar, but recursion doesn't go through walls. Brainstormer does. So the one weapon I would say you really want is a Brainstormer. It'll make clearing mobs very easy. Now everything else, pretty much whatever you want. Any grenade that does any sort of elemental damage is good. Or you can use a transfusion grenade. Your grenades are not only damage, they're sort of your heals. If you're taking too much damage, you throw a grenade over a wall, get your heal before you go back in. Relics, obviously they don't matter. I don't have a great relic for this. I just have one that I have. There's plenty of shields you can use for this. This is even the best one. You can use any sort of guns. I like using the Cutsman or a torque weapon just in case I want to CC one person and keep them CC'd the whole time. That also because the Cutsman does a ridiculous amount of damage. Crossroads are good. Lucian's calls are good. Rowan's calls are good. Liudas are good. Hellwalkers are good. You could pretty much just put anything on the build, like I said before. So it makes a game that's full of world drops awesome. Because anything is your new toy. Now, this is my preference for this. Obviously, if you get God Roll, class mods, and relics, get rid of these Cutsmans, get rid of this Crossroad, and use whatever your class mod and your relics dictates, but never get rid of your Brainstormer. This is key. That's key. Now, we're going to go into a clip of me clearing a Slaughter Shaft Mayhem 3 with a negative modifier. This is not a positive modifier. This is negative. It's 50% negative gun damage, which means that it's lowering my elemental damage from my gun and my gun's damage by 50%. It is a ridiculously bad modifier to have, but I just wanted to use it to show off the build. It'll clear like 1 or 2 of the Slaughter Shaft rounds, and it's a good preview to the stream. We do stream on Twitch. The name will pop up there, and you'll be able to see me interact with chat while we're doing it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps you out. I am going to release a variant video very soon for people with better gear who want to clear faster. Enjoy. Alright guys, here's the way that we're going to show you the build. I'm doing this pretty much live on Twitch. I stream every day. Twitch.tv/Wolvie2032. Here's the mods. Alright. As you can see, this is a very bad mod for us. A very bad mod for us. This is 50% damage reduction with all guns. This means that it not only reduces your bullet damage, but it's also reducing the elemental damage. So this is going to be a very difficult run, but it's a good way to show how much damage this build actually does. The stats on my guns, I just showed them. We go over them in a little bit, Gamma. Let me get some of these kills going. Alright, here we go. Take advantage of the chain lightning. As you can see, it just melts right through the health. No problem. And this is why we have another SMG that's not the Cutsman to deal with these running targets. And the whole purpose of the Brainstormer is to take advantage of multiple targets. Your goal is to group up as many targets as possible. Like right here. And the moment the other targets are dead, you swap to your other guns. You want to cover all the elemental bases with your guns. Now you see there's going to be multiple badasses here, right? These guys are all there. There's a bunch of HP, right? Not anymore. By the way, this is a very squishy build. If you are not paying attention full time and talking to chat, you will die. There are many other builds that are way more hard to kill, have a lot more survivability, but they give up on damage. Usually when you're first getting into the higher difficulties, you have a hard time killing things. This does work on boss raids. Yes, it does. It's very hard to kill from bosses. You might not have the fastest kill, but you'll never die. The elemental lifesteal will keep you alive versus any boss in the game. Now here's a good example. As you can see, this target is sharing damage with this guy, but he's not actually dropping. Oh, remember how I explained that? Hey, thank you very much for subbing. I appreciate it, dude. Welcome. You see how this person isn't dropping? Just like I said, stillness of mind only drops the target if they take direct gun damage. So as long as you have a Cutsman, you can CC the whole room and be safe. Full 6 seconds. Thank you very much, man. No problem. I'm trying to group them up as much as possible, so we can melt all of them. It's okay, chat. You can make it more difficult for me. How many enemies? It's unlimited. As long as they're close, there's no limit. I want you guys to, like, remember, this is 50% of the damage. This is with the 50% damage reduction modifier. This is me at a handicap. This is not me at 100%. So if you're worried that you can't do this with the best gear, don't worry. It works. You have to think of your grenades as basically a heal. Sometimes they're for damage, especially if you have a specific type. I personally like cryo because it's CC, it's healing. If you can't get cryo, I'd suggest getting corrosive. Your most dangerous enemies are the ones with armor. 90% of the time. If you can't get cryo, don't worry about it. If you can't get corrosive, don't worry about it. You mainly want it for the heal. Do I have cooldown reduction? I do have cooldown reduction. Now, the biggest tip is you want cooldown reduction. It's probably your most important trait. You can probably get it anywhere you can. If you can get it, good. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. You have to duck and weave. Your best bet is to go in, especially when you're new into gear, go in, use your ability, blow everybody up, and kite and kill people to survive with your damage until your next phase grasp. Luckily, phase grasp is a very short cooldown. It's only 18 seconds. So, you should be okay. You could definitely get it on here. I opted out for it to get damage reduction, and because the Molly one increased damage because cuts mints are great. But the damage reduction, because again, the biggest issue in this build is you're very squishy. You're squishy. If you're not always doing damage, you're gonna die. But as long as you're playing correctly, you'll survive. There you guys go. Slaughter shaft. No problem. Negative 50% damage. No problem. This build just works. If you got any questions, by all means, ask away. Drop them in the comments or come by the stream.